So, I don't really have any really great ideas for this video. This is just sort of about the difficulty. One of the major difficulties of life for me is how many overwhelming, or is the overwhelming amount of options that you have in life. And the overwhelming amount of, I suppose, opportunities that you don't get, I suppose. There's a lot of things I'd like to do in life that I'm probably not going to. you know, I thought about when I was a kid, I wanted to be a pilot, for example. There's a shortage of pilots right now. They need pilots, but I can't really square burning tons of fossil fuels with my childhood dreams. I mean, it goes against my moral values. I think if I thought that we were getting close to having jetliners that ran on something other than fossil fuels, I'd probably maybe give it a shot, but it doesn't seem like anything like that is right around the corner. But that was one thing I wanted to do. There's lots of music out there that I'd love to listen to, but I don't know where it is, or there's probably a lot of great songs I've never heard. There's tons of beautiful women that are probably interesting and funny, and I wouldn't mind having relationships with them, but I'm not really in a position to do that right now. Just because of the fact that I haven't created a career for myself and don't have a lot of confidence. Even things like with music. I mean, it's like so many different songs I want to write. I would want to write electronic music. There's some rock songs I want to write. I'd want to try learning reggae. There's different techniques, musical techniques, that it would be nice to learn. Like I could learn how to play with larger intervals, jumping in larger intervals, or I could play more classically styled. I could learn more classical training so that I could do more, arpeggios and things like that, or could learn how to use technology really well to, synthesize sounds and really come up and be a decent sound designer, or, or use even just, figure out how to use delay properly, or I already know how to use delay, but I mean, really experiment with it. There's a lot of things you can experiment with. I'd like to electrify instruments that haven't been electrified before, see what that sounds like. I'd like to learn how to DJ, even though everybody and their mother knows how to DJ these days, it feels like, I don't know. And it's not like, I actually bought a little DJing app that I had before on my phone, and I just don't want to pay for the subscription. It just sits on my phone taking up space, but, I'd like to be in a joke band. I'd like to have like a band like Tenacious D. I'd like to write sketch comedy. I'd like to have a radio show or a podcast or something. I'd like to have a music review channel. I'd like to eat things I've never eaten before. I'd like to travel to places I haven't been. There's so many options in life. I wonder, well, if I'd been more science oriented, if I'd had a different mentor, could I have done great things in the sciences? Could I have done, I'd like to learn to program a musical video game. I'd like to learn to program video games in general. These are all things that are, they're, so just getting around to this, I mean, You know, I would have liked to have learned to cook. You know, I love food. Maybe I could have been a good cook, but bottom line with all these things is all these things just take effort. Every one of these things, you know. None of these things comes easy unless you're lucky, um, or, you know, maybe, you know, if you were raised with the, I guess, the right resources and maybe the right mentorship and the right work ethic. But all I'm saying is all this stuff that I'd like to do, it's not, doesn't just happen automatically. It's stuff that you have to really put effort into. And in life, you only have so much time and so much effort to devote. And you have to decide which of these things is worth your time, you know. And you might be good at all these things, but, or, you know, maybe you'll suck at all of them. Who knows? But, you know, but if you're even going to try them, it's a time commitment, time and effort commitment. And I guess that's what's so hard about life is you almost feel paralyzed trying to figure out which way to go. So many things you can do. You're not sure which of those things you're going to be the best at. You're not going to sure which of those things is really going to bring you joy. Um, you're not sure if your work in any of those things are going to be appreciated in the long run. You know, you're not sure if your contribution is going to matter. I don't know. Your contribution in anything you want to do. Life is overwhelming because there's so many things that are appealing, and yet you only have so much time. And I think it's easy to sort of be overwhelmed to the point of inaction, which is basically what's happened to me, you know. It almost feels like, why do one thing if there's 1,000 other things I won't do? And I'm sure people would say, well, better to do something than, you know, be overwhelmed and do nothing. But I can't help but feel like anything I try to do, that I'll, you know, be disappointed with how it doesn't, you know, because it rarely lives up. I mean, all these things, they all sound great in theory, but, you know, living up to your expectations for what they're going to be, um, probably not, you know, likely more often than not. Every now and again, I mean, if you were lucky and you happen to pick one that was the right one, you know, maybe things could work out. But it's like, especially when you get older like me, you know, you only have so much time. You really feel your time dwindling, and you wonder, what's it worth it to do at this point? You know, there's a lot of things that I can only do at this age that, you know, my youth window is closing. You know, so anything involving, you know, physicality or even being remotely young, um, is going to go out the window probably in another 10 years or so. And so it's just, you know, it's tough. I don't know. It feels like this, you know, now there's more pressure to do these things than ever, and I didn't want to do them even when I was young and capable, more capable. So I don't know. I guess, you know, there's so many things to do in life, so many things to experience, and I guess I'm an all or nothing kind of guy, and so in some ways I feel like if I can't do it all, then I don't want to do any of it. I know that's not really productive or anything, but does it really matter how much of the things you end up doing, you know? I don't know. I guess I just want novel experiences at this point. And right now, there's nothing novel happening. It's pretty much the same thing every day. So, I don't know. I guess, I don't know why I'm making this video. I guess it's just to, you know, to say that it's, you know, the overwhelming amount of options in life makes it harder to decide to do anything. And it's probably a good idea to do something regardless. But I get the feeling that no matter what I do, I'm not going to do it enough to make it feel like it was worth doing, unfortunately.